We've shown that ability to bounce back after disappointing games. It started yesterday with a good, solid film session and meeting once we got here after a long day of delays. But everybody just wanted to get better, and the approach today was very professional. Pretty much throughout the rotation across the board.
You got an extended chance to play with Bam, and it really worked tonight. What did it feel like being out there with Bam?
I mean, I just feel like I had a little more help out there. A little more help, closer to my size, I would say. But so yeah, I feel like it's better when he's able to roam and just to be able to be in help if my man do get behind me or just to be low man and anything like that.
Were you surprised when Bam came in and you didn't come out? At first when you saw him, do you think you were going out?
Yeah, I was a little bit. I thought I was going out, but then he was like, he had somebody else. So I was like, oh, man. So, we got some minutes together. So.
What's different when you play with him? I know you talk about there's less pressure on you. You both can hit the boards, but what's different side by side?
I mean, it's better for him. They, as you've seen tonight, they put the smaller defender on him, had the bigger defender on me, so he was able to, get to things if he wanted to, and he was able to crash. He didn't have a big man, boxing him out. So.
America wants to know what was it like in that moment, and did you realize you were not in a really good place?
Well, I was in a good place.
Okay.
I was finna grab the rebound. To be honest, he don't even crash. The unfortunate happened.
Have you been dunked on by a teammate before, or is this personal now?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to leave it there.
Gotcha.
Anything else?
Kaz, what's it like when you have a game like Friday, you don't play at all, you don't know if you're playing, and then boom, you get thrown right in? What's it like to go back and forth between playing and not playing?
I'm just trying to stay ready, Whenever I have the opportunity, I try to embrace it and try to stay ready whenever I can,
Did you feel it tonight that I'm going to shoot a lot of threes and not miss any of them? Do you get that feeling early on that the basket's really big tonight?
No, it's, every game is different, but every time you have opportunity, I made a couple shots, I was feeling good, and I just kept taking, good shots instead of trying to force it. So whatever the ball came to me, I was ready.
It seemed like there was good energy, and it seemed also playing with Jaime and some other guys, you didn't have to be on the ball as much, and you seemed to get into a nice rhythm. What was it like with that second unit?
Yeah, I think, it's like we have a lot of players who can handle the ball, so sometimes one brings the ball, sometimes another, and it's good to have that variety.
Overall, you've seen this team with some games just Chicago a week ago, something similar, and you've seen sort of the other side in Boston. How tough is it to know how good you can be and still have those other games? When's the consistency going to arrive?
I don't know, but I think that's what we're trying to reach. The consistency is very important. So we cannot go like one game up, one game down. I think we have to be a little bit more consistent with that and just do our principles, at all the games, all the time.
Appreciate it.
Kasparas, I wanted to ask you about Will Riley, obviously your teammate at Illinois. He's had a really good stretch of games here. He scored 27 yesterday. That was a career high. What do you think about his game and how he's started to catch momentum here in his rookie year?
Oh yeah, I saw his last 4 games. He's improving a lot, and he's always the very good scorer, great instincts in basketball, can create to other teammates too. So I'm just happy to see him playing good, and especially the last 4 game stretch, he's doing better and better.
Having known him for so long, is there anything that stands out to you about how he conducts himself on and off the floor, or his competitiveness?
Yeah, he always want to win, he loves the game, he's always working hard, so I only wish the best for him.
You had that block on him when he was taking that 3, I think, in the second quarter. Did you say anything after that? Were you jawing?
Nah, he was telling me something, so then we had a good laugh, but that was funny.
Thank you. Bam, your thoughts on dunking on Kel'el Ware tonight?
Boom, damn. Yeah, we always joke that I never dunked on him. It just so happened that I dunked on him in the game. Sorry, Lil.
Did you see him there when you did it, or was this instinctive? Really?
100% he was down there. Yeah, I had a free runway too. And then I didn't know it was going to bounce that perfect, though. And then he jumped. I was like, oh, yeah. So if y'all look around next couple of days on my social media profile pictures or somebody getting dunked on, y'all know who it is.
It never happened in practice when you went hit to hit.
No, I dunked on him in practice.
Okay, also. So.
But it was off a lob.
Fair enough.
This one we was both going for the rebound, and he was just – that was like one of them prime Blake Griffin dunks. I don't know if y'all remember him dunking on Pau Gasol off the rebound. One of those.
But on the more serious side, you guys played very well together tonight, regardless of the competition. How heartening was it to show Coach and just show each other this could work?
Yeah, I mean, we always got belief in our lineups. Double big, small lineups, whatever it is, because we practice it so much in shoot-around practice, walkthroughs. It's good to have that kind of, I guess you say, time in the game together, and have to figure out how we can get a dub out of that.
How important is it for you guys that after a rough loss, you've been shown the ability to bounce back, whether it was against Chicago, whether after the Boston game now, to show that you're still there?
I mean, like I said before, we see what we're capable of. It's just about us continuing to do this on a night-in, night-out basis when we're not making shots, still getting stops, still being active on defense, and generating our own offense that way.
What's the best part of your game right now as you're assessing through different parts of your career and the season? What do you think is like the best parts of your game right now?
I can impact winning, making shots or not. That's the best attribute, I guess you can say, for me this season. If I don't have a good shooting night, I'm gonna have 16, 17 rebounds, be the loudest person on defense. And if I am having a great shooting night, obviously, it opens up at all three levels.
Did it take you a while to find that to know if you're not scoring whatever you can impact the game on so many other levels?
I didn't come into this league as a scorer, and it's funny people forget that. So I had to figure out how I can impact winning. And whenever I'm not having a good shooting night, I just revert back to that. Like, ball's gonna find energy at some point. Ball's gonna go through the basket, and I don't change that mindset. But as far as missing shots, I know I can always impact on the other end.
For young people, what are some motivating words you can share for those that are trying to reach goals such as yourself and accomplish major moves such as yourself? What are some encouraging words?
I would say don't be scared of the moment. It's going to be moments where it's going to present itself at what you want. Don't be scared of that moment. Really embrace that and go towards the fear. Yep.
First of all, the notes, and now I got the ball back. First of all, the back issue. How severe was it? If the game was closer, could you have stayed in or come back?
If the game was closer, it could have stayed in, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough question to ask me.
How much of an ongoing concern is it, or is it just a moment?
I think it's just a moment. I think a lot to do with being stuck on a plane for a lot of hours, and then soft beds at the hotel. We tried to make an adjustment, but they didn't have what we needed to have a little firmer mattress there, so I always get a little back flare up when I'm sleeping on soft mattresses.
Well, I think if you win the three-point contest, you could earn enough for a new mattress. How exciting is it to be back there and on your former home court?
It's really exciting. When they asked, I instantly said yes. Just for, like you said, being back into a dome, back in LA, where my family can see me for the All-Star weekend. So I'm excited about that. And it's not my mattress at home. I always sleep on firm mattresses. It's the hotel beds.
Hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. When you look at moments like this, you've had some moments when it seems like it's going south, like against Boston, but you guys always managed to turn it around a little. How important, forget the competition, was it for you guys to show your better selves today?
Really important. I made sure when we huddled up, I think after a foul, they went to the free throw line. And the game was pretty much out of reach, I would say. That it's about us working on our things, working on what we need to work on, no matter who we play. So being focused mentally on the attention to details on the defensive end was really important for us. I thought we did a great job with that, sustaining the level of effort and focus that we needed to make sure that the game didn't get back into under 10 points.
How heartening is it to see what Kaz did tonight when given a chance?
I'm really excited, man. I love Cass, man. He's such a hard worker. I mean, he's doing 2-3 workouts before shoot-arounds and before practice. You know, I think the sky's the limit for him. Just his approach, his mentality. He's very mature for his age. He's very focused and very locked in. So, you know, and I think it shows. You know, he's been put into the starting lineup when guys have been hurt. He's been able to play and showcase his ability and why this organization loves him so much. You know, and I'm really excited for him and the game he had today, the plays he was making. You know, he always has that fearless mentality. No matter who he's going up against, he's going to pressure. He's going to play his game, and he's going to attack. And I always tell him, you know, when he's out there, make mistakes being aggressive. You know, that's what was told to me when I was at his age, to go out there and play free, aggressive, and good basketball. And he has high IQ, so it's no surprise to me.
Have you ever had a teammate do you as dirty on a dunk like Bam did Kel'el?
Oh, never. I'm probably when I was younger, you know, I was probably the one doing that to other teammates. You know, I wouldn't let that stand. So I got to talk to Lil about that. My bad, dog.
And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. I want to ask you, how validating is it for you to become an all-star back in the city where you used to play?
I don't know how much to say the validation. You know, I always felt that even if I never got an all-star, you know, the respect and that I have with my peers across the league throughout the years of me playing in this league meant more. You know, I got a lot of guys who are, you know, guys promote and love and superstar Hall of Fame guys asking me to play for their team and things like that in passing. You know, just congratulating me on my career, you know, how hard I've worked. You know, they've loved the dedication and commitment to the game and just my approach. So the validation for the All-Star, it doesn't really like validate who I am as a person, as a player. You know, it's good for me as an achievement and a milestone that I've always wanted. I think it puts a stamp for everybody else, the media, everybody else that's put me in a box and what my limit was. So I think that's what it speaks to. But for me, it doesn't validate me as like I'm a player. I've always thought myself as an all-star.
And one more. This marks Kobe's last season, about 10 years now. What have you learned from Kobe as a player that took from you for the rest of your career?
Yeah, I mean, I learned from his approach, his mentality, and sacrifice, putting everything you had into your game, putting in multiple workouts when other people wouldn't. You know, that was my approach as a child. You know, committing everything to the game, sacrificing my time, my family time, my friendship time, getting in the gym, working. I had a goal, making it to the NBA, and my role model on this court was Kobe, and I took pretty much everything from his approach to the game of basketball and implemented it into my game. And then I was fortunate enough to actually talk to him in his camp that he had at Sports Academy before he passed, you know, and having that moment with him, being able to talk to him break down and analyze my game, those are things that I'll never forget.
All right.
Okay.
Erik, sometimes this is basic as take care of business. Your thoughts on how your team took care of business today?
Yeah, you know, we've shown that ability to bounce back after disappointing games. You know, it started yesterday with a good, solid film session and meeting once we got here after a long day of delays. But everybody just wanted to get better, and the approach today was very professional. Pretty much throughout the rotation across the board.
We saw little changes in the rotation, much more Bam and Kel'el. Your thoughts on how it worked, how it looked, how they played together?
Yeah, I liked it today. You know, we want to see where we can maximize, you know, rotation as much as possible. You know, particularly with that second unit. Bam has been a great anchor for us in whatever lineup he's been in, you know, especially the last 6 weeks or so. You know, and it'll just depend also, you know, how much it can be productive. Cass gave us a good boost also with that unit. You know, and defensively, that unit was very stable and active, and offensively, you know, we were able to manage the spacing and really, you know, pound them on the glass. You know, which is what that lineup needs to do.
Thoughts on Kaz's play and your decision to play him ahead of Drew tonight?
Yeah, you know, our 3 point guards are are all really important to our team. So if I'm playing two of them and not one, it's not an indictment. But Cass, gives us something different than the other two. He really competes. He was getting in little things, dust-ups throughout the course of the game, but it's really just because of how hard he plays. There's a purity to that. Offensively, he's a guy that has a big upside. He can really shoot the ball, but he also, as a playmaker, can make plays. So with some of the change, with the second unit, we just thought that potentially could be a good fit. But Drew will still be very important. And like I said, we're just trying to maximize everything we can, throughout this rotation, get some more consistent play, at end of quarters.
With two more before the break, how important is it to go into that break sort of feeling good about yourself?
It's very important. We'll focus on tomorrow night, but yes, it is very important, for us to handle the next one, professionally tomorrow night.
Typically, Pella's the energizer. Often Myron can be, unless he's getting too early fouls. But how nice was it to see other guys energize and that energy stay there after that uneven start?
Yeah, it's what we've been talking about, that everybody really needs to wrap their mind about being an energy player. That starting lineup, I tell them all the time, you have to embrace being an effort, energy group. There's talent there for sure. And that group can put up points on the board very quickly. But when they really commit to doing the effort and energy things, particularly defensively, but also offensively, cutting for each other, moving the ball, crashing the glass, making those extra efforts, that group, becomes even more dynamic. But our second unit gave us the biggest boost, tonight. And that was when Bam was in there, but it was Cass, Simo, Jaime, Kel'el, and Bam. Now, both in the first quarter and the third quarter gave us a real good boost.
Cassie Martinez, Kaplan News. Can you talk to me a little bit about that play where Bam dunked on Ware?
That's the way that unit has to be, though. And that was a good playful moment. But both those guys have to be absolutely relentless on the glass. There might be some things we give up, from a spacing standpoint. But both of them have really improved, as shooters and are gaining more confidence. So it's a little bit different than it was, 2.5 months ago, hopefully. But regardless, for them, they've really have to embrace that. The ruggedness, the physicality, but also those efforts on the glass. When we were playing them before, there were times where that wasn't one of our better rebounding groups. Right now, I think, they understand that, how important it is. And that was a fun moment that I'm sure that we'll play in the locker room quite a few times.
Hey, Coach. Kaz and Will Riley were college teammates at Illinois. And amidst Riley's heater that he's had 20 a few times last few games, was Kaz any help in game planning for that, and how did you ready for that match?
No, they had some good playful banter throughout the course of the game. Both of them, we had both of them in for workouts too, and Will Riley had a good workout. He's played well. Since he's been given an opportunity and he's making the most of his opportunities. You can see why they were pretty dynamic, when they were together at Illinois. So that's fun to see. All right, thank you.